I never truly meant the words the way they came out. That's the part that still eats at me. I was exhausted, overwhelmed, my hands buried in laundry, my chest heavy with resentment. He came home late, again. Without even lifting my head, I let it slip. You're not my partner. You're just the guy I co-parent with. The silence that followed was brief but cutting. Long enough for me to know I had crossed a line, yet short enough that I didn't take it back. If you've ever said something cruel just to make the other person feel the ache you were drowning in, then you'll understand why this memory still stings. It wasn't always like this. In the early days, he was the calm in my chaos. When I unraveled, he steadied me. When I doubted, he believed. We had our baby sooner than expected. Not an accident, just earlier than planned. Parenthood didn't shatter us, but it buried us beneath endless routines. Slowly, we forgot who we were outside of being mom and dad. I stopped seeing him as my partner and started treating him like an assistant. Someone who picked up our daughter, ran errands, took out the trash. He, in turn, moved like a man forever guessing, afraid to overstep, afraid to do too little. Always tired. And I, instead of reaching out, grew bitter. One evening, after tucking our daughter into bed, I sat folding laundry in silence. He sat across from me, scrolling his phone. Weeks had passed without intimacy, and even longer without real conversation. Out of nowhere, he asked, "Do you still love me?" I didn't answer right away. I just stared at the tiny onesie in my hands as if it might give me the truth I couldn't speak. Then I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the question felt like it came too late. "I love that you're a great dad," I said finally. "But sometimes I feel like I'm just co-parenting with a roommate." He didn't react immediately. His eyes blinked once, slow. Then, without a word, he stood, walked into the hallway, and I heard it, the soft scrape of a suitcase being pulled from the closet. That's when the weight of it hit me. He wasn't going to argue. He wasn't going to plead. He believed me. He took my words as truth, and he started packing. I froze in the doorway like a child watching a parent leave. My body wouldn't move, though my throat burned with the urge to stop him. "Wait," I whispered. He paused only long enough to zip the bag. Then, calm but hollow, he said, "If that's really how you see me, I can't stay somewhere I'm no longer a husband." And just like that, he walked past me. Quiet. Certain. That night, I lay on the couch, not because I had to, but because our bed still carried his scent, and I couldn't bear it. The next morning, when our daughter asked for him, I told her he went to visit Grandma. Not exactly a lie. He did go there. But the real reason was me. My words. Days blurred into weeks. He only texted to ask about our daughter. His messages were short, stripped of warmth. The man who once sent me voice notes just to say he missed my face now typed like a stranger addressing a school administrator. And I had no one to blame but myself. I told my friends we were already falling apart. I said he never showed me affection. But deep down, I knew the truth, he did. I just stopped seeing it. Or maybe I stopped valuing it. He made my coffee just the way I liked it. Even when we weren't speaking, he rubbed my back when I had cramps. Even when I ignored it, he still called me babe, though eventually, I flinched when he did. I pushed him away, one careless word at a time. And that night, I sealed it with the worst one. I thought he'd come back eventually. Maybe after cooling off. But he didn't. Instead, a month later, he sent me a shared calendar link for parenting transitions. No explanation. No, can we talk? Just logistics. When he came to drop our daughter off for the first time, he didn't come inside. He didn't linger. He kissed her forehead, handed me her backpack, and left. I wanted to scream. Come in. Yell. Fight for us. But I'd already made him believe there was nothing left to fight for. That night, I sat on the kitchen floor with my back against the fridge and cried like I'd lost someone to death. Because in a way, I had. Love doesn't always vanish in an explosion. Sometimes it erodes slowly, worn down by silence, missed glances, and one sharp sentence too many. Weeks later, we sat across from each other in a mediator's office discussing custody and visitation schedules. He didn't look angry. He looked calm. Almost peaceful. And I hated it. Not because I wanted him to hurt, but because I realized he was free. Free from the woman who made him feel small for trying. Free from the cold version of me that valued pride over partnership. And me. I was left with a new title, single mom, and the memory of the night he finally believed my words and gave up being anything more than a co-parent. 6 months have passed. We text more now, but mostly about our daughter. Sometimes he asks how I'm doing, and I always say, I'm fine. But the truth is, I'm not. Because the words I threw at him to wound him, they did. And the worst part? He believed them. If this cuts into you even a little, if you've ever used words as a weapon, or if you're still replaying that one sentence you wish you could erase, know this: sometimes you don't lose someone in a fight. You lose them in the silence after a single sentence too sharp to take back. And when they leave, it's not always out of anger. Sometimes they leave because they finally believe you never truly wanted them to stay.